Man, it's a great Monday. You got Joe Rosen, you got Lissette Hurtado. We are live today, and today we're going to talk about price reductions. I'm fired up. This is actually Lisette's idea, and we get it all the time, right? Where not so much in this market, but we still get it. But in a buyer's market, you're going to see it all the time. I remember selling in 2005, 6, 7, especially in 8, especially in 9, where you could list a home at comps, but when homes were dropping 1 or 2 or 3% a month, it might not be worth that anymore, right? So then you got to do a price reduction. The question is, what message does that send to buyers, and does it help you or does it hurt you, Lissette?
That's a good question, because that's the exact same question I got from my seller last week. And, I'm completely honest with everyone. So I told her it's not really gonna, when a buyer sees it, of course, they're gonna think, what's wrong with the property? Why hasn't it sold? And why are they doing a price reduction? But then you get past that. And then you get to the point where you have now the property being viewed by all these buyers that probably weren't viewing it before. And now you have so much more exposure. So really, I think the positive outweighs the negative.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think, too, I talk about this all the time with my listing clients. Everybody wants to get a little bit more, especially in a seller's market. We think we can get more, right? But the way to get more, honestly, and I've done this through experience with my own properties, is list it where it should be at market value. Market value is where the comps are. And comps might be 5, 10, 15 grand off, depending upon the value of your home and a million other things. But to list it over that, right, 20, 30, 40 grand over that, even in this market, there are so many buyers out there. And when they see the different options at a price point and you're the worst one at that price, nobody wants to take a chance on it. Not to mention the fact that, what are you thinking right now, Lissette? I won't even feed you this answer, but I know you're going to get it. I bring you an offer and it's 100 grand over what the value is. And I've got an FHA mortgage. What's the first thing you're thinking of?
It's an empty promise. I mean, that property is not going to appraise.
It's not going to appraise.
So really, it doesn't mean much on paper. It's just a number you're shooting at me so you could win everyone else out. But really, if you come and then get slightly over asking and you have an appraisal differential guarantee in there, then that's the winner.
That's different. Yeah, I agree 100%. So I always push my people, hey, come in at market value. If you're saying it's a seller's market, market value has come up considerably. That's where you're getting your high price, not from then taking that number and going higher. That causes a lot of problems. The other big difference too is, if let's just take a $500,000 home, for example, and let's say, what's the difference between listing it at 5 and listing it at 530? If you list it at 530, I might get 4 showings, maybe an offer, and I'll sell it for 530, right? Maybe. If I listed at 500, the comps are all at 500. I'm going to get who knows how many showings, 30, 40, 50 showings. I'm going to get 8, 10, 12 offers. And not only am I going to get 530, maybe 40, 550, somewhere in that range, but I'm going to get the terms I want, because I'm able to tell all those people we've got a lot of offers. All of a sudden, appraisals are going out the door, or there's appraisal guarantees. We've got inspections going away. We've got the perfect timeline. Everything the seller wants is being handed to them because it's this beautiful property at a beautiful price. So you're still going to sell at the same price, probably even a little bit higher, but now you've got those great terms. Are you seeing that with the terms, Lissette?
Yeah, 100%. And back to where just a little bit of a difference in price makes a huge difference in exposure. I have a property that was listed just $2, I would say, price per square foot over than what I think where we should be.
Yeah.
Was not getting the exposure, was not getting the showings that I felt should be getting. All we did was reduce it by those $2. We're now in a whole different bracket. We got multiple showings, multiple offers, over asking price offer that we're currently under contract. It made a world of a difference. So I think pricing and making sure that you know your market is essential.
Yep. And you brought up a great point, right? Price points and brackets. If the market's coming in at 495 and you listed at 500,000, I honestly think that's a good idea, because right now it's all about searchability. People are going on Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, Redfin, your website, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, you name it. They're going on those websites. They're doing the searches. And when they're searching, they're not looking from 495 to 600. They're looking from 500 to 600. They're looking from 400 to 500, right? That's how it works. So if you're at 495, you want to list at 500, that's not that crazy. But if your comps are at 500 and you're trying to go to 505 or 510, you just got rid of all of those buyers looking from 4 to 5 or from 450 to 5. They're gone. So those brackets are really important. I do want to bring it back, though. We're really pushing on the fact that you should price it right from the get-go. But let's say I just didn't, right? Or maybe it's a buyer's market, or maybe there's something about my home we just didn't take into consideration that's really setting apart negatively. And now it's come to where we should start talking about a price reduction. How many days in this market are you waiting before you're going to do a price reduction?
So in this market, if I don't see the activity within the first few days, I'm already thinking in the back of my head, all right, this might be an issue due to pricing. I'm going to pull my comps. I'm going to see how many properties have gone pending, and I'm going to pull all those properties within that bracket and see, do these properties have more upgrades than my property that I have it listed at has. I like to give the seller the benefit of the doubt and give them a little bit of time, but I would say nothing more than 2 weeks, 14 days. I mean, I would like as soon as 7 days, but just to give my seller a little bit more time, if they're really sticklers about that price, I'll give them max 2 weeks.
Yeah, I like that. Again, comparing it to more than a decade ago, I remember my strategy back then was at 30 days, we're going to talk about your price, at 60, at 90, right? And you had 6-month contracts. I still read 6-month contracts. And every time we go over that part in the contract, I laugh. And I'm like, man, if I can't sell it in 6 months, you need a new realtor. But you would go through it every 30 days. You would say, hey, we've had a full month of exposure with this property. It's not cutting it. We need to look at some of the things that sell a property, the biggest one being price. It also helps to give feedback from a lot of the showings. So if you've got a home on the market right now, even if you're overpriced, you're going to get some showings. If you can get some feedback from those agents, it is helpful, right? I love it when agents, especially in a text, will give me some good, solid feedback. And if we're overpriced, that negative feedback helps. Because right now it's just me and my seller. My seller wants top dollar, and they're struggling between, man, is he right? Is he not right? So if you can get more input in there for that person to see, oh my gosh, it is a little bit dated. The neighborhood maybe isn't the best. There are rusted out pickups. I just offended everybody with rusted out pickups sitting outside my neighbor's yard. Okay, I guess I can see where multiple people are coming from. And Lissette, you're absolutely right. You're going to get that even on an overpriced listing in 7 days. In this market, it's a crazy market. So if I come to you and I want to price reduce, what message does that send to buyers? And now put yourself in the shoes of a buyer's agent. What are the things that buyer's, not the buyer's agent, you're the buyer's agent. What are you hearing the buyers say to you now that they see the price reduction and it's been on, let's say, 15 days?
I think the number one phrase would be, what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it?
Why is it not selling? There must be some type of issue with the property. Which usually it's just not. It's not getting the exposure. Yep. It's not getting seen by those group of buyers that are either pre-approved or that's where their budget's at. Yes. But you don't want to be there for too long. You definitely want to be proactive and reduce that price. And sometimes just by a little bit makes a world of difference.
And perception is reality. So if people perceive that there's a problem, that's going to be reflected in your price. Now, I'm going to tell you what my experience is, and then I'd like you to end with, hearing a little bit about what your experience is. I was just telling you about a home today. Beautiful photos. This is a higher end home too. It's considerably more expensive than average. And my folks are coming in, man, I got to do some math here, 85 grand over. They're coming in way over, right? And they're coming in cash. They're going to be financing another, like, forget it. We've got the cash. We'll put the cash down. No appraisal. Like, let's just do this. Let's get it done. And that property just popped on the market, right? It is really well priced. It is staged well, gorgeous photos. I'm not seeing that when a home's been on for 15 days in this market and they've price reduced. What I'm seeing is, Joe, do we even have to offer full price on this? They've already come down. It's already been on 15 days. Let's come in 5-10 grand short. It's a completely different conversation than the other one. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes and no. That's a typical buyer. But I didn't have such a typical experience lately where we did reduce it and we ended up with over asking price offer. And I think the reason is because we're now in a different bracket.
Yeah.
And now with the comparables, we may be the top quality in that bracket of
Yes.
homes.
Yes.
And they know it's going to go fast.
Interesting. And how many offers did you have on that particular property you're thinking of?
We got 2.
Okay.
2 within 2 days of reducing the price.
Isn't it easier to negotiate as a listing agent with confidence when you've got multiple offers? Because if you lose the attention of one, you've still got another one. But if you only have one offer, you gotta tiptoe around. You gotta be very careful. You don't want to offend anybody. Can we do this? Can't we do this? When you've got multiple offers, you can just say, "This is what we need. Can you make it happen or not?" And it makes it so much easier for that seller to get exactly what they want.
Yeah, it gets you the ammo to then negotiate the best terms for your seller.
Yeah. Yes. So all in all, guys, my take on this is, before you even talk about should we do a price reduction and how does that position us, really make sure that you've priced the home correctly the first time, right? I love me. I think I'm a phenomenal agent, but honestly, all of you should be talking to at least 2 agents before you get somebody in there. We've all got different marketing plans. We all have different levels of confidence, negotiation skills, abilities to assess the value of a property. You're going to be able to see not only those 2 different assessments of value, but the confidence level behind each, right? I've seen realtors come in and say, your property's worth 700. And I've seen other realtors come in and say, let's sit down and pull the comps together. I want you to see why I think your home is worth $728,000. Wow, that's a little bit different. Now I'm buying into it because I see where you're coming from versus you just spitting out a number at me. So really get a price right from the beginning. But when it comes down to a price reduction, you've got to do it. If you're in that position, it's just the position you're in. You can't go back and change things. The best thing to do is to move forward with a price that actually fits the market. And like you said, Lissette, man, if you can hit a really good price point, right? If you're at 510 going to 5, that is going to be way more helpful than coming from like 540 to 530. Let me get rid of that. So that's a big difference. Anything you want to add to that, Lissette?
No, that was fantastic what you said, Joe. And just, always remember sometimes the positive outweighs the negative. There could be negative of every choice we need to make in the transaction. So we just have to look at the bigger picture and really see what audience, what exposure we're getting for that property.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it, Lissette, as always. Anybody watching, if you've got any topics you want us to bring up, feel free to DM either one of us, and we'd be more than happy to do a show on it. Lissette, have a phenomenal day, my friend.
Have a great day, guys.